wife, the most overlooked woman in the Bible, the one no one fought for, no one came back for, no one even named in their prayers. Turned out to be the one God chose to carry the bloodline of Jesus. She was widowed twice, betrayed by the man who owed her protection and erased from the family that should have been hers. But she refused to disappear. She made a plan. She waited for the right moment. And what she revealed in front of everyone brought the most powerful man in her world to his knees. This is the true story of Tamar, told exactly as it appears in Genesis 38. And it's not just her story. It's for every person who has been overlooked, written off, or told to wait for a promise that was never coming. Stay with us until the end, because the final scene reveals where her bloodline leads, and it may change how you see your own. If this story speaks to you, please subscribe to Arc Films. It means the world to us. Now, let's begin. Jacob had 12 sons. Among them was Judah, not the eldest, not the youngest, but the one who convinced his brothers to sell their young brother Joseph to a caravan of slave traders heading for Egypt. It was Judah who said, "What profit is it if we kill him? Let us sell him." They took Joseph's coat, soaked it in goat's blood, and brought it to their father. Jacob tore his robes and mourned for weeks, weeping for a son who was not dead. Judah could not bear the sight of it. So he left. He went south, away from his brothers, away from the tents, away from the sound of his father's grief. He settled near a Canaanite town called Adullam, married a local woman, the daughter of a man named Shua, and started over. She gave him 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. A new family, as if the past could be buried under enough distance. Years later, when his firstborn came of age, Judah arranged a marriage. The bride was a young woman named Tamar. The Bible does not tell us where she came from or who her family was. What we know is that she was given to and that she left behind whatever life she had.
She will be a good wife for my son. The arrangement is made.
It meant children, a household, a name that would outlive her. But was wicked in the sight of God. The Bible does not say what he did, only that God saw it, and that it was enough. The Lord took his life. Tamar was a widow before she had ever been a mother. In that time, there was a custom called levirate marriage. If a man died without a son, his brother was obligated to marry the widow and produce an heir in the dead man's name. The child would carry the firstborn's name, his place in the family line, and his inheritance, which was also the widow's only claim to a household, to protection, to a future. It was not about romance, it was about survival. The child was the only thing standing between her and erasure.
You will go to my second son, Onan. He will fulfill his duty to his brother.
Onan took Tamar as his wife. He slept with her, but whenever they lay together, he spilled his seed on the ground. He understood the arrangement. Any child born would be counted as Er's heir, not his. So he used her body and denied her the one thing the union was supposed to provide, a child. God saw what Onan did, and it was wicked in his sight. Onan died too, 2 husbands, 2 graves. And Tamar had done nothing wrong. She had obeyed every instruction and been faithful to every man placed in front of her. Yet she was the one kneeling in the dirt, alone again. The household whispered what no one would say to her face.
2 sons dead, both married to the same woman. You do the counting.
Judah had 1 son left, Shelah, the youngest. He was still a boy. By the custom, Shelah was next. When he came of age, he should be given to Tamar so she could bear a child in the family's name. The scripture tells us what Judah was thinking. He may die too, just like his brothers. He did not say this out loud. Instead, he chose his words carefully when he spoke with Tamar.
Go back to your father's house and live there as a widow until my son Shelah grows up.
It sounded like a promise. It was structured like patience. But the Bible makes clear that Judah had no intention of keeping his word. He was afraid of losing his last son, and it was easier to send Tamar away than to face that fear honestly. So Tamar went. She put on the garments of a widow, bound to a family that had sent her away, unable to remarry, unable to move on. Time passed. The Bible does not tell us how long. Perhaps a decade, perhaps more. Long enough for a boy to become a man. Tamar saw it. She saw that Shelah was grown and she had not been given to him as a wife. She was still sitting in her father's house, still waiting for a promise that had already been broken. Then, in the course of time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, died. Judah mourned her. After the period of mourning had passed, life resumed. Sheep shearing season arrived, a festive public event marked by celebration, trade, and feasting. Word came to Tamar.
Your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep.
Tamar heard the news and understood what it meant. Not just where Judah was going, but that he was never going to fulfill his obligation. If she did nothing, she would remain in this house for the rest of her life, childless, nameless, forgotten. So she made a decision. She took off her widow's garments. She covered her face with a veil, completely, so that no one could recognize her, and sat at the entrance to Enaim, right on the road to Timnah, right where Judah would pass. And he did. When Judah saw a woman sitting by the roadside with her face covered, he assumed she was a prostitute. In that time and place, a woman veiled by the roadside near a festival was not hiding her identity out of modesty. She was advertising her availability. He did not recognize her. He did not even suspect. He walked up to her and said it plainly.
Come now, let me sleep with you.
What will you give me to sleep with you?
I will send you a young goat from my flock.
Will you give me a pledge until you send it?
What pledge should I give you?
Your seal, your cord, and the staff in your hand.
And just like that, he handed them over. His seal, the one he pressed into clay to sign agreements. His cord tied around his neck. His staff, the one no other man carried. These were not just objects. They were the ancient equivalent of a man's signature. Everyone who saw them would know exactly who they belonged to. They lay together that night, and from that encounter, she conceived. Then Tamar got up, left, removed the veil, and put her widow's garments back on. She vanished back into the invisible woman no one thought about. But this time, she carried two things she did not have before: a child in her womb and the proof of who the father was. Judah kept his word about the goat. He sent his friend Hira the Adullamite back to Enaim to deliver it and retrieve the seal, cord, and staff. But when Hira arrived, the woman was gone. He asked the local men about a shrine prostitute. The men looked.
There has not been any shrine prostitute here.
Hira returned empty-handed and told Judah everything. Judah's only concern was making sure no one found out what he had done.
Let her keep what she has, or we will become a laughingstock. After all, I did send the goat there. You simply could not find her.
Years earlier, Judah had used a goat to deceive. It worked. He walked away clean. Now he was sending a goat again to make another problem disappear. But this time, the goat came back, and the evidence didn't. The seal, the cord, the staff. Gone. He had no idea who was holding them or what they would be used for. 3 months passed. Then word reached Judah. A messenger came to him with news that would have spread through the household like fire.
Your daughter-in-law Tamar is guilty of prostitution, and as a result she is now pregnant.
Tamar, the woman bound to his son Shelah, was carrying a child. And since she had no husband, the conclusion was immediate. She had been unfaithful to the family. In that culture, it was a crime punishable by death. Judah did not ask who the father was. His sentence was instant.
And bring her out and have her burned.
Not stoned, burned. The most extreme sentence reserved for the worst offenses. Judah didn't just want Tamar dead. He wanted her erased. This was the same man who, 3 months earlier, had slept with a woman he believed to be a prostitute on the road to Timnah. Now he stood in judgment over the woman. Tamar was brought out. The fire was being prepared. As Tamar was being brought out, she did something no one expected. She called for a servant and placed 3 objects in his hands: a seal, a cord, and a staff. She told him to carry them to Judah. With them, she said only these words:
I am pregnant by the man who owns these. See if you recognize them. Whose seal and cord and staff are these?
No accusations, no defense. Just the truth, placed in front of the most powerful man in the room. Now picture Judah. The seal arrives in his hands. He knows the markings. The cord, he recognizes the weave. The staff, carved by his own hand. These are his. Proof that he is the father of her child. Everything he has carried. The guilt of selling Joseph. The lie he told Tamar about Shelah. The night on the road to Timnah. All of it crashes down at once. Judah opens his mouth. And for the first time in this story, he tells the truth.
She is more righteous than I, since I would not give her to my son Shelah.
The death sentence is dropped. The fire is put out. Tamar lives. The scripture adds one final detail. Judah did not sleep with her again. He did not claim her as a wife, but he recognized her righteousness. When the time came for Tamar to give birth, she carried twins. During the delivery, one of the babies pushed his hand out of the womb. The midwife saw it and tied a scarlet thread around his tiny wrist.
This one came out first. Mark it, he is the firstborn.
But even as she spoke, the baby pulled his hand back inside, and his brother pushed through and was born before him. The one who was marked as first was overtaken by the one no one expected. They named the firstborn Perez, meaning breaking out, because he broke through ahead of his brother. The second son, born with the scarlet thread still on his wrist, was named Zerah. This was not an accident. Throughout the Bible, God chose the younger over the older, the overlooked over the obvious. He chose Isaac over Ishmael, Jacob over Esau, David, the youngest of 8 brothers, to be king of Israel. Again and again, God placed his promise not where the world expected, but where no one was looking. And now, Tamar held them both. In that world, children were everything. Without children, a woman had no standing, no security, no future. Every man in Tamar's life had denied her this, Onan, Judah. Now God had given her not one son, but 2. But Tamar's story does not end with her. Perez, the son who broke through, carried a bloodline that would stretch across centuries. Generation after generation, his descendants continued. One of them was a man named Boaz, who married a foreign widow named Ruth, another woman the world had overlooked. From their family came Jesse, and from Jesse came his youngest son, a shepherd boy no one expected God to choose, David, King David. And from the line of David, generations later, came Jesus of Nazareth. Tamar is named in the first chapter of the book of Matthew, one of only 5 women mentioned in the entire genealogy of Christ. God did not just remember her. He wrote her into the most important bloodline in human history. The woman they tried to erase, God made eternal. And so ends the story of Tamar, a woman who was widowed, betrayed, forgotten, and sentenced to die. And yet she is named in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. From Tamar, we learn what it means to be failed by everyone who was supposed to protect you. Her husbands used her. Her father-in-law lied to her. The customs that should have secured her future were turned against her. Every system failed, and yet she did not accept the verdict. If you have ever waited for someone to keep a promise they never intended to keep, Tamar's story says, there comes a moment when waiting must become action. From Judah, we learn that the person who judges you the loudest may be the one who owes you the most. He sentenced Tamar to burn for the very thing he had done. And that same pattern repeats in homes, workplaces, and churches to this day. The guilty pointing fingers at the innocent. But Judah also teaches us that confession is not destruction. When he finally said, "She is more righteous than I," it did not ruin him, it freed him. The truth he had been running from his entire life was the only thing that could set him right. And from God, we learn what matters most. Every man in Tamar's life failed her, but God did not. He gave her not one son, but 2. And from one of those sons came a line that leads to King David, and from David to Jesus of Nazareth. The woman the world erased, God made eternal. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to ARC Films and leave a like. It helps more people find these stories. Tell us in the comments, which Bible story should we cover next?